What's up guys, so I'm back with another video, and today the video is focused on mainly intermediates and higher level bodybuilders or competitive athletes. The beginners can also watch it because they will gradually actually get to these levels. So the topic is wrapped versus unwrapped training. Okay, so what is a wrap basically? So when we are actually going for very heavy weights, you must have noticed that bodybuilders or powerlifters actually wrap their joints to protect their joints. Okay, especially the people who've been training for 10 plus years, 50 plus years, who are actually seeing some wear and tear in their joints. There is some persistence pain that is there. So what they do is, in order to prevent injuries and stuff, what they do is they actually wrap their joints. Now these joints mainly will be the elbow joints, the wrists and the knee joints, right? Because these are mostly used in the heavy lifts. You'll be using your elbow joints and your wrists for your heavy overhead press and bench press. You'll be using your knee joints for your squat, right? Deadlift in general is not using a lot, but then again you're putting a lot of stress on your wrists as well as your knees there as well. So people prefer to wrap it up, right? So what does a wrap do? So there are two kinds of things that are there. One is a sleeve, the other is a wrap. So basically what happens is that the wraps are actually Velcro, or there's a long piece of cloth which is very rigid, so it supports the knees, right? A sleeve is something that you have already seen. It's just you can slip it on. So the wraps will obviously give you a lot more support because you can wind it around tighter. Sleeve again depends, it will give you good support as well, but then the sleeve is mainly to provide warmth there. So sleeve, basically when the joint is kept warm, the chances of injury, the chances of bone to bone touching injuries that are generally there are less. That is the entire point of keeping the body warm while working out, right? So even when you're wrapping, what happens is that your joints are supported, right? Now, the advantages, number one, you will gain certain amount of poundages in your lifts. Why? Because your joints will be having apt support. It will be tightly knit together, packed together as a compact unit in order to lift a lot more, right? So you will definitely gain in poundages. Also, the safety precaution will be something that will be there physically as well as mentally. So physically also you will be a lot safer, in a lot more stable position. Mentally also, that fear of yours that is there, or I might snap something when I'm lifting real heavy, will be absolutely zero, very close to zero, absolutely minimal, right? So it will be tending to zero when you actually have wraps on, because it gives you that mental satisfaction that yes, I'm locked in and I'm ready to go. Okay, so it's that satisfaction that you get when you have your seat belt on, right, in a car and you are riding at high speed. You get the hint. Those are the two main advantages. Now we're coming to the disadvantages. The disadvantages are going to be, one, your joint is not going to keep up with your muscle strength, because what you're doing is you're giving a crutch to the joint, right? It's not keeping up in terms of strength to the muscle strength. Now your muscles will be growing, but your joint is having a crutch to lean upon, right? So that is why it won't be forced to grow in terms of strength along with the poundages. So suddenly one day, if you're training without those wraps, there is a high chance of injury because your muscles are actually stronger, your joints are not. So that is one very important aspect which actually works against wraps, which you need to understand. My recommendation when it comes to wraps, when I'm going really heavy, when I'm testing my 1 rep max in some of the major lifts, I definitely wrap my wrists and my knees and stuff depending on the lift, right? But I actually alternate it with non-wrapped workouts as well. That I make sure that my joint is growing in strength along with the muscles. And by growing, I mean not in size, because obviously we cannot grow your joint. But then what you can do is you can make it stronger and proportionately stronger to the muscle. Okay, it should not be like your muscle can handle 500 pounds, but your joint can only handle 350. So when you're doing it unwrapped, you snap your joint. That's the entire point of making sure that you train wrapped as well as unwrapped. You maintain the balance between both. You take the pros of the wrapped when you're going for some heavy lifts or a heavy workout session, which will be around your 1 to 3 rep max. That is when you need the safety, you need those poundages to be there. So wraps are perfect, but not every day, every week, because it is going to become a crutch. Like I say for a weightlifting belt, like I say for a weightlifting shoe, for wraps, for belts, anything. Don't make it a crutch. Don't make yourself so dependent on it that you cannot work out without that. Okay, that should be the basis of your training. So I have trained for over 6.5 years now. The initial 4.5 years, I did not use a belt, did not use straps, did not use. In fact, I've started using straps only about 3 months from now. Okay. So basically, what happens is you need to make sure, condition your body that it is strong enough to handle all of the poundages that you're lifting, even without the equipment. The equipment just helps you to handle more weight, right? It doesn't make you stronger. It makes you handle more weight. It makes you more stable, more compact as a unit, right? That is why a bench or putting on a bench shirt doesn't make you stronger. It can only help you lift more, right? As a person, you're not getting stronger. You're just using a crutch to increase the poundages that you're lifting. That's fine for a competitive guy, right? For a guy who competes in equipped lifting, that's fine. But it's not for someone who's a day-to-day gym goer. Wrapping becomes necessary if you have injuries, right? Then it's completely fine. If you have like I have tendonitis in my left elbow, in my right wrist, I have some impingement in my left shoulder. So the left shoulder impingement obviously can be countered by good warm up. Everything can be countered by good warm up, but if you're gonna go really heavy, you need to make sure that you wrap it up, because I don't want to snap something or worsen the injury, worsen the condition further, so that I cannot lift for years or months on end. That is not something I want. So I put ego by the side and wrap that joint up. If you're injured, if you have a perennial kind of an injury, then wrapping is fine. But if you're not someone who's injured, and if you're not someone who's already dependent upon the wraps, I want you to ease into the wrap and non-wrap style of training. Okay, maintain a balance. Let's build a body that is superhuman, both in terms of athletic performance and in strength. I'll be seeing you.